This video recaps all the Stanley Cup Playoff games from April 26, 2025. And while it is late, it's better late than never. Enjoy, everyone. Oh, wow. This is getting interesting. It's getting spicy in the Battle of Florida. Vegas claps back at Minnesota. The Senators are like, I didn't hear no bell. And the Avalanche are energized by the return of Gabriel Landeskog. The first round is enticing for many reasons, and it's just the 8th day at the playoffs. Whoop, whoop. That's the sound of the police. Whoop, whoop. That's the sound of the beast. I said that Brandon Hagel was lucky to stay in Game 2 after he hit Alexander Barkov high and knocked him out the game. Suspended for this match, and Barkov is getting the green light from Paul Maurice to play after clearing warm-ups. Normally that would spell trouble, especially after Evan Rodriguez and Sam Bennett take advantage of a lightning turnover at their own zone. Bennett cuts to the front, toe drags around Nick Paul, and while he fans on the initial shot, Matthew Tkachuk puts in the rebound. So that's it, right? The Panthers strike first again. They take control of this game, right? People can't help but feel this is going to be a repeat of the 2024 series. Surely the Lightning are a washed-up shell at their cup-winning years, and the Panthers are the new best team, not only in the state of Florida, but the league overall. They're the defending champs. It's not like they're going to get dog-walked all over. Oh, surprise, surprise. The Bolts have looked more like their Stanley Cup contending form in this game. Connor Geekie rang one off the crossbar on the rush, but Nikita Kucherov, who was not scoring his last 12 playoff games entering this match, dangled through the reigning Selke Trophy winner Alexander Barkov, who fed Jake Guentzel, who had a similar move through Sam Reinhart. A top 5 two-way forward in the league was also getting into Selke Trophy conversation, and his shot bounced off Braden Boyd and in. Tie game in a period in which the Bolts were getting badly outshot 12-5. The first period was a carbon copy of Game 1. Florida scores first, Bolts tie it after a solid run. The difference was that Tampa took a late penalty, but got to the intermission tied. Bolts are used to playing from behind this series, so that early period didn't really faze them. Not to mention how outstanding Andrei Vasilevskiy was early, with him stopping early quality chances, but they spent more time in the Florida zone, which helps a ton. Vasilevskiy continued taking over. This game was a true Vasilevskiy game, and the first and second period showed exactly that. 11 saves in the first frame and 13 in the second one. One of the best ones being on a redirect by Aito Lostarinen after Brad Marchand set him up for a pretty pass off the skates of Eric Chernak. He doubled down with a stop on Aaron Ekblad, who received a feed from Sam Reinhart. Of note, Ekblad is making his return after serving a 20-game suspension for a failed drug test. One of his pain treatments had a banned substance. One thing that needs to be noted is that Geekie is getting more confidence in this series. He got the Bolts a great opportunity in the zone, and drew Sergei Bobrovsky out of position before he found a wide open Emil Lilleberg. Pass was slightly off though. After 2 penalties were killed, the Bolts caught the Panthers on a sloppy line change. As the Panthers changed lines, Gage Gonzalez took a feed from Ryan McDonough. Gustav Forsling focused on Gonzalez. The rookie slips a puck to Nick Paul for a 2-on-1. Who fires one off Bob's pad and in for Tampa's first lead of this series. This series is silently the most physical series of the bunch of the East. It intensified when Matthew Tkachuk dumped Victor Hedman into the Bolts' crease. That led to another Tampa power play, but Anthony Cirelli would get involved in a post-whistle scrum and join Tkachuk in the box. Just before they were going to go short-handed, Nikita Kucherov entered the zone, and while the initial shot went wide, he followed up a no-look feed to Jake Guentzel. Johnny on the spot, chipping a bouncer over Bob's shoulder. That's a good way to build confidence. Guentzel was one of the best forwards on the Bolts, and he finally got rewarded for it. Florida wasn't going away, but Tampa kills the penalty, and while nothing came out their power play, it did bleed more clock. Vassy made another point-blank save on yet another Panther power play, this one from Barkov. The Panthers get caught in an odd man rush, but Nick Paul's shot hit the outside the left post. That's not the only 2-on-1 the Bolts have in the third, as Gonzalez sends up a breakout for Yanni Gordon and Luke Glendening. Forsling tried to make an ill-advised jump to break out the puck, and Gore connected with Glendening, who roofed the puck to essentially ice the game. Now I wish that was the end of it, but as Bob was pulled with 5:30 left, and the Panthers wanted to get a miracle, Kuch had other ideas and poked the puck free. Guentzel found Anthony Cirelli to put it away, or so we thought, because Tkachuk decided to make a late hit on Guentzel as the play was going on. Cirelli wasn't even celebrating. He wanted to take care of business against a hated rival. Brandon Hagel was up at the press box watching all the chaos unfold. Like Hagel, Tkachuk saw this as a chance to hit an unsuspecting player. Also like Hagel, Tkachuk was called for a major penalty for interference, and it was upheld. They even got John Cooper to mock Paul Maurice's exact words for the Game 2 post-game presser. The only players we hit are the ones with pucks. Saying that after what Hagel did to Barkov in Game 2 is a choice. But Maurice cannot say that quote anymore after Tkachuk's hit on Guentzel. Yet Tkachuk doesn't get any discipline. The hit is not suspension worthy because Guentzel stayed in the game. But no fine? No, nothing? This is the definition of a double standard. Let me clean some things up. I was okay with the Hagel suspension. On his hit, Barkov never touched the puck and was not eligible to be hit. The onus is on Hagel to know before intentionally delivering a forceful body check to an unsuspecting opponent with sufficient force for supplemental discipline per the NHL rulebook. In the case of Tkachuk's hit on Guentzel, how much of it changes? Guentzel did touch the puck, but Tkachuk hit him half a second after Guentzel passed the puck. The hit was not immediate, and the puck was at least as far away from it as it was from Barkov before the hit from Hagel. Rule 56.1 on the NHL rulebook says the player deemed in possession of the puck may be checked legally, provided the check is rendered immediately following his loss of possession. Guentzel was no longer in possession of the puck, and he's no longer eligible to be hit. The Department of Player Safety even factored similar plays where interference was called, such as Emil Lilleberg's 2-game suspension, where his hit on JT Compher was outside the window where a check may be legally made. Plus, when adding context, Hagel was a player he thought touched the puck in a 1-0 game. Tkachuk hit an unsuspecting player making a pass at the end of a 4-1 game. If Hagel wasn't suspended or fined, then things would be evened out with this decision. Textbook moving the goalpost moment. Controversy aside, the Panthers were solid, but they need to finish their chances. That cost them, especially since the Lightning pursued their chances and capitalized on them, forcing turnovers and taking full advantage when getting the puck. It's a series now. Here's a stat that does not seem real. The Wild are now 1-10 in playoff games where they had a series lead. Yes, that includes the 2003 one in which they surprisingly made the Western Conference Final. But they had to come back from 2 separate 3-games to 1 series deficits in doing so. Anything is possible until the final buzzer sounds and a team's season is over. But this game was as must-win as it gets for the Golden Knights. Another loss? That would get them into a deep hole. Their power play hasn't found the back of the net in the 2-game skid, but the Knights needed this one badly. The irony is, for the first 25 minutes of this game, that didn't look like the case. Because if Shea Theodore wasn't generating chances, the Knights weren't generating chances. The 11-4 shot differential for Vegas was deceiving, because most of the chances came from him, and that included the first goal of the game. Also, it was on the power play, so that was much needed for the Knights. They needed any chance to go through, even a seeing eye shot for the blue line. Jack Eichel needed to step up, and he finally has his first point of the series with a secondary assist. But one guy doing everything on offense is not going to cut it, because that opens up the window for Minnesota to tie the game. They did that with Jakob Trenin beating out Nick Hague to the puck behind Adin Hill, and Trenin made a no-look pass to Marco Rossi, who was waiting for the puck, and made no mistake burying it past Hill. Tie game. The Wild, however, aren't satisfied with a tie game. They want the lead. They want to punch Vegas in the throat. Hey, look, Kirill Kaprizov have his open back door. He's got 4 goals in the series. You can write on it.
Nope.
Oh my goodness. Adin Hill. What a save. Rink wide from Joel Eriksson-Ek. A defensive-minded forward still has to wait a little longer for his first point this series. What the heck happened on that second Wild goal? Ryan Hartman just flipped one from the left point and inadvertently knocked away Brandon Saad's stick. The puck was stuck in a low slot for Wild, with Marcus Foligno jumping up to grab the puck before it came free for Hartman again. And after a second try, Foligno put it away on the backhand. It looked like there was a hand pass on the play, but Bruce Cassidy decided not to challenge it. But that's textbook baseball instincts from Foligno. The irony was that Vegas was the better team at 5-on-5 through 2 periods. Yet they're being outscored 2-0 at even strength, and they exit the second trailing 2-1. The main reason why Minnesota has the lead throughout the rest of the period was Philip Gustafsson, who has been outstanding for them. He stopped the 2-on-1 setup by Brett Howard and William Karlsson. Hot goalie can steal a series. He's been keeping them in this series. His consistency is what is most impressive. Yet for all of that, the Wild's penalty kill, despite being perfect in the last 2 games, is still a bad unit. The Knights have 4 power play goals in this series on 11 tries. The 4th goal came on Zeev William double minor for high sticking. This essentially was the biggest power play of the Knights season. The key? Throw anything at the net. Pavel Dorofeyev initiates a mad scramble for the puck with his initial shot, while Gustafsson got Tomas Hertl's rebound. The second one came to Nick Waugh, who ties the game up top shelf as he caught Gustafsson on a full sprawl. Gustafsson continued being terrific, stopping another 2-on-1, with Howden leading the rush again off the touch pass from Ivan Barbashev. Karlsson drags around Boyum, and it's met. But sometimes it's awkward sequences and bounces that can reward teams. Hertl was caught in a wrestling match at the front of the net with Hartman, and Mark Stone's shot from the far half boards bounced off Hertl's leg and in, just as Hartman was going for the counter. 1, 2. Oh, he scored? Crap. Well, worry not, said Jared Spurgeon, as the other captain would tie it again 54 seconds later. After the initial shot from Jake Middleton was tipped by Kaprizov in front, Spurgeon picks up the puck and wraps it around for his first goal of the series. Kaprizov made contact with Hill, but it wasn't clear if Theodore was the one who initiated contact, so once again, Vegas decided not to challenge. Next shift, Noah Hannafin mishandles a pass from Riley Smith, and that gets Trenton off to the race as he comes in all alone. Hill makes the initial save and gobbles up Justin Brazo's rebound too, as Brazo was on his knees on the shot. The funny part is, that initial shot almost went in 5-0 past Hill. Gustafson wants to say in spectacular saves too. He robbed Smith in tie on a backhander on his outstretched left pad. Taryn Pang was in full disbelief on the live broadcast on TNT as well. And for the first time in 11 years, the Wild play a playoff overtime game at their home ice. Kaprizov and Bodie each have 4 goals in the series, but both were held to just 1 point. Kaprizov's assist on Spurgeon's goal. Bodie almost had the winner in tie on the backhand off a swing and a miss, but there was too little room. He also found Joe Eriksson in a low slot, who closed in on Hill, and almost had a second playoff overtime winner against Vegas' career. Bodie drove up, draws a double team, finds the open Eriksson, driving to the goal mouth, and Hill kept it out. Full extension of his right pad as Eriksson ran through him. Nick Waugh got called for holding, but Vegas puts on a huge kill. And then late in the first OT, Middleton fan on the clear, and Riley Smith scooped it up before sending a backhander towards the net. Ivan Barbashev was there for the rebound in front, puts it away, series tied. The Knights gave the Wild a taste of their own medicine, making them pay for an unforced error. This was the definition of an intense game. Both teams exchanged hits and chances on both ends of the ice. The Knights and Wild combined for 33 high danger chances, and both goalies were sharp. Gustafson stopped 42 of 46, while Hill stopped 29 of 32, though he was clutch down the stretch. Vegas needed better efforts from their top guys, including Hill, Eichel, and Stone. All of them delivered. While Eichel finished with a -2 rating, he led all fours in ice time at 29.57, and was second behind Waugh in hits, 4-5. The only player with more ice time than Eichel was Theodore, and he desperately needed a bounce back after game 2 went brutally for him. The Knights also had an answer for Kaprizov and Bodie. They erased most offensive chances from the duo when they were on the ice together. Bodie was held to 3 shots and 7 shot attempts, none of them high danger chances. Theodore had the assignment of shutting down the top line for the Wild. He did that, then got a good portion of his minutes against the trio of Marcus Foligno, Ryan Hartman, and Matt Zuccarello. He held that comfortably too. With him on the ice, the Knights had a 31-14 shot attempt advantage and outshot the Wild 13-6 at 5-on-5 and controlled over 80% of the expected goal share. The series isn't over, but now it's the best of 3. But the Knights have home ice advantage again, and they have the opportunity to seal the deal with 2 more games. The Wild, on the other hand, need to find ways to run through their top guys again to regain control of the series. It's easy to point out how the Maple Leafs are 1-12 in closeout games over the last 12 years. It's easy to laugh at them for anything wrong that they do. But only 4 teams in NHL history have ever come back from a 3-0 series deficit. The Senators are in this exact dilemma. Not only that, but they have never won a series in their franchise history when they are facing elimination. 0-24. One of the keys is to find a fast start for Ottawa. And the first period went as well as it could have for the Sens. But discipline issues for the Leafs are a common theme throughout this game. Max Domi punched Shane Pinto for whatever reason on a faceoff, and the Sens make them pay on the ensuing power play. Jake Sanderson finds Tim Stützle at the right circle, but one time the shot top shelf for his first goal of the series. That's the one thing Domi needs to stop. It was careless from him, and it cost the Leafs dearly. Even in rivalries, one of the common mistakes a team can take is disrespecting your opponent. They were too cute with their plays and ignore what worked for them in the past. Off a board battle, the puck was poked free and sliced by Mitch Marner, and Pinto got out alone and buried his shorty 5-hole. Squeak it past Anthony Stolarz. While the 5-4 power play was alright, this was going to come eventually. This goal showed the danger of a 5-4 power play group, and it came right after both Stolarz and Jake McCabe kept the puck out of the goal line after a frantic scramble between shots from Nick Jensen and David Perron. The latter was standing by the net. At some point, the Leafs would be burned, and through the first 18 minutes, that was the case. Things could have been worse, but the Leafs tightened up the rest of regulation. Stolarz bounced back with several saves after Tyler Clevin threw one to the net, and both Drake Batherson and Fabian Zetterlund wanted to poke it in. Batherson and Stützle chased a hit on Max Pacioretty, which caught the Sens off guard. Then William Nylander wristed a shot for the point. John Tavares gets the deflection. Linus Ullmark never saw it. Toronto's within 1. The second starts with 4-on-4 due to coincidental roughing penalties, but Ottawa, despite having tons of possession time, was not aggressive and never really put shots on goal. Tavares was penalized, but Dylan Cousins made 2 boneheaded plays, and Sanderson decided to take a penalty himself instead of outracing Marner. Brady Tkachuk almost scored. He rang it off the post. Then it was Matt Nyes knocking a loose puck between Sanderson and Artem Zub. Moving in on a breakaway, fakes out Ullmark, lifts it to the penthouse and tied the game up. Sanderson doesn't even move at first. By the time he saw Nyes, it was too late. To start the third period felt similar. The Sens were in the offensive zone, but they got complacent, trying to set up a perfect play. Wrong idea. Nylander gets a good chance, but before Pontus Holmberg could get the rebound, Brady Tkachuk clobbered him. Perron Priestley got a shot, and the Sens got 2 more shots. On the second one, Zoo fired a shot deflected by Perron, whose veteran leadership has been so crucial for this young Sens group. That's when the Leafs decided, no more Mr. Nice Guy. Down by 1, they started to put up the pressure. Bobby McMahon and John Tavares got consecutive shots at the goal crease. Ullmark was there. Holmberg and Max Pacioretty got 2 more looks, and Patches looked close to tying the game up. Ullmark and Clevin were both there. Then with less than 6 minutes left, Tavares drives in the net, curl and drag. Ullmark stopped it again. The puck is clear, but it's not out, as McKay kept it in zone for Nylander, who goes rink wide for Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Tie game. The Leafs continue to destroy the regular season narrative that the Blue Liners are not getting any production, as this even things up. Right to go on the third, it was a nightmare for the Sens for the second and third. Shots were 9-1 Leafs in the second, 7-3 Leafs in the third, and if it weren't for Ullmark, it would have been over for Ottawa. For the third straight game, overtime. Early, it looked like the Leafs were going to finish the job and sweep Ottawa when he got a 4-minute power play as Batherson took a double minor. Toronto had 6 shots on the man advantage, but it was Ottawa's PK that made the big blocks, big clears, and the necessary saves. Ullmark was sharp when the Sens needed him to be. Stops Nice on a one-time feed from Nylander, who later was boxed out by Zub on another chance on a cross-swap feed from Nylander. Overtime did open up at that point. And of all people, Clevin led the rush. He got a backhander off Stolarz, in which it bounced off him awkwardly. But off the bench was Jake Sanderson, who barely kept the puck in his zone. All he did was focus seeing Ice shot from the near-half boards to the top right corner. Stolarz was fooled. He doesn't see the puck. Game over. This easily was Stolarz' worst game of the series, but it's not grounds to switch to Joseph Woll. Stolarz has every right to bounce back from this game, and knowing that he can stay calm, cool, collected, and a little pissed off, he should be affected by this game. One bad game shouldn't get in the way of anyone. The theme of this game, however, is being good enough. Ottawa was good enough, and so was Ullmark. Sanderson made several mistakes in the second period, including when he didn't catch an eyes on his breakaway, but he redeemed himself with the OT winner. Ottawa was unable to shoot after the first period, but the last shot was the one that squeaked through, and Clevin had a game saver in the third, and he set up the OT winner. His 55% expected goals at 5-on-5 in this game was much better than his regular season output. The Leafs power play was a big disadvantage in this game. They were the reason they were ended up 3 games to nothing in the series in the first place, but it was one of the reasons they lost game 4. The decision to run with Morgan Riley at the point after the Bears left didn't work, but one player being removed shouldn't determine how good or bad a power play should be. Yes, Tavares. He was elbowed to the face by Artem Zub, and he went down. He then missed half of OT before getting cleared to return. Fabian Zetterlund still snake bit, and while he did have dangerous chances, he just can't seem to finish them. That's been a concern for the Sens throughout the season. And while the Leafs dropped this one, they're still the more experienced side and have been the better team in the series, so Craig Berube's not worried. How can you not be romantic about hockey? Gabe Landeskog has been one of the best feel-good stories late in the year, and seeing him make his comeback to hockey after missing 2 years and 10 months to cartilage replacement surgery is always a heartwarming sight. Just seeing him in the lineup, especially in postseason action, will forever have a smile on my face. Stars fans were hoping for Miro Heiskanen to return to this game, but that did not happen. It started out well for Dallas, and they got a couple of power play opportunities. A give and go between Mikko Rantanen and Alex Petrovic? But things started going south. Arturi Lehkonen got a breakaway and got another chance at the front. At least he got something back with chances from Game 2 OT hero Colin Blackwell in the fourth line. They got a power play, but it's not them capitalizing. Colorado need to be aggressive, and they were throughout the first. Defensively, they were breaking up passes, and Mackenzie Blackwood turned away rope hits. And after Devon Toews fires the puck over the glass, Logan O'Connor makes up for it by shoving Thomas Harley out of the picture and taking it coast to coast himself for the opening goal. Shots were pretty much even between both sides, and Blackwood continues to hold his own. Nathan McKinnon and Lehkonen counter back, and Sam Girard spun around Wyatt Johnston. Later, Mason Marchment elbows Cale Makar after Blackwood stops him. And that sets up the torrid hot power play, and Toews redeems himself for his earlier penalty by setting up McKinnon at his office on the man advantage. Donovan Drouin digs the puck from the far corner, and it's on from there. And by that, I mean that the Avs won on a torrid hot pace beginning the second period. Jake Oettinger was the main reason that Dallas was even in this game at all. Colorado had a slight edge in shots in the first, 12-11, but the second was firmly in control of the Avs. 22-5, the advantage in shots on goal. They were an entirely different team. Dominating puck possession brought the frame, including that goal, the grand return of Landy. Finally, after 1,041 calendar days, He has scored his first goal since Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final. The moment he took the drop pass when Brock Nelson sniped it off the bar and in, Ball Arena exploded. To know how loud it truly was, the roof was blown off this building, figuratively. The venue was not that loud when they were playing in the Stanley Cup Final. This goal was the culmination of his comeback story, but it also got him into the book of legends. From here on out, there's no going back for Landy. This was a living movie for him, and the type of comebacks you see in movies. From a hockey perspective, the first player that you think of when it comes to comebacks in hockey is Mario Lemieux. He initially retired in 1997 because of his long-standing battle of Hodgkin's lymphoma and constant back pain. His son, Austin, convinced him to play again, and the rest is history. After 44 months, in that time he was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame, Super Mario had a .33 seconds in his return when he assisted on a goal from Jaromir Jagr. Jagr returned the favor when he found Lemieux all alone to beat Curtis Joseph at the left circle of the Pack House at the old Civic Arena. Landy didn't get a point in his return in Game 3, but he had the most impact on the ice from any player not named Valery Nichushkin. Plus, Landy made his return in time for the playoffs, and they're facing one of their hated rivals. This game had also changed since 1997. The play is much faster, the players are stronger, and they have better equipment, and the strength and conditioning programs are much better. While the game had one more period to play, with the way the Avs were playing, I initially questioned why Peter DeBoer pulled Jake Oettinger after 2 periods despite facing 34 shots. I guess it was to keep his confidence so that it doesn't get tanked further. That's how I believe it to be. But the further shot on one side of this game was, Sam Girard got a feed from none other than Landy. Risked it for the blue line that bounced past Casey DeSmith's leg. The Avs outshot them 14-7 in the third to make the final shot total 48-23. There were comebacks in other sports reminiscent to that of Landy. Vitaly Klitschko, the current mayor of Kiev, Ukraine, tore his ACL 9 days before he was set to face Hasim Rahman. He announced retirement and underwent surgery to repair it. But on October 2008, at age 37, he got an opportunity to fight Samuel Peter for the same WBC belt he vacated all those years before. He dominated the 12-round bout and knocked him out in 8 rounds that were one-sided towards him. He fought 9 more times, winning every time, before retiring at the prime of his career. Sugar Ray Leonard was the great amongst his fighting class, but in 1982, he retired because of an eye injury and a detached retina to go with his lack of a desire to continue fighting. But 3 years later, he found a competitive spirit to get back to fighting and took on the marvelous Marvin Hagler, the most feared fighter at the time. While it was a controversial result, Leonard won the fight and Hagler retired, vowing never to fight again. The world has gone through so many changes since then. The last decade and a half saw a lot of them. What Landeskog went through shows a larger significance. Social media is both a blessing and a curse. People use it for help, others use it for harm. It's an excellent source of information. Others have used it to attack others that they would not want to face in person. Landeskog has stayed persistent. He continued practicing. The build-up was leading up to here, which includes 2-game stint with the Colorado Eagles. And when he came back, he looked like he never left. Welcome back, Lane.